Today we are going to look at some R basics, and then we're going to learn about how to set our working directory, and lastly we're going to learn how to load data into R. And so onto some basics. This is your script. To open that, you come to File, New File, Script, or you can just come over here and say R script. And then you have your console, and this is where some of the results, or you can run some of your codes here as well. And then you have the environment. You can see your data sets or whatever connections you are connected to, and then over here you can see some of the plots or tables that you have created. And so I think one of the most important basic thing you should know is that you need to load packages if you'd like to use R. There is the base R, but for some of the analysis you will need some packages, and to do that you use the function install packages. Initially you need to either put the quotation marks, and then you put the name of the package. After that, every session you need to load your packages that you're going to use. For instance, today we're going to use tidyverse, and we are also going to use Haven. And don't worry, over time you get to learn what packages you need. So one of the things that it's quite important for you to note is that, and this is one of the basics, R is case sensitive. And so if I were to highlight that, because that's how you run your codes, it is going to say error because we capitalized library and it's supposed to be small letters. And there you go. And so now when we run that should be okay. And there we go. Those are the two packages we're going to use. And then we move on to the second thing we were going to learn today, and that is we're going to set our working directory. So why do we set our working directory? We want to have a central place whereby anytime I open this script, all I have to do is run it in its entirety, and I don't have to, you don't have to keep loading data from different places. And so the directory that I want, home, I do have my R practice. This is my working directory, and you can see that is where all my data set and scripts in relation to this project is saved. Minimize that. So usually use the function set wd, and then after that you need to define the file path, and to do that, that's quite simple. So we'll go back, and then what we want is the file path, and say copy as file path. And after you copy that as file path, come to your script, paste that, and then this has to be the /. Highlight that, run. So if you want to know, and as I said before, this is the console. If you really want to know that you've set that, you could always say get wd. But however, because this is my main script and I don't want any other codes that should not be there, I just want that to be the codes of my, the functions or the analysis I'm carrying out. So this is more of a sub-analysis, or I just need additional information. I usually use the console for that, get WD, and it will show you that you've set that and you're able to see that. One more thing before I move from this one, you see me using hash a lot. When I use hash, I'm basically telling R not to include any statement that comes under the hash on that line, on this line over here. It should not be included in the analysis. So that is the main use of the hashtag. R will not include this in the analysis. In the analysis. All right, moving on. So loading data into R, there are quite a few ways that you can do this. One, you can come to import dataset, but at the end of the day, you would need to know what sort of data you have. Is it Stata? Is it and Stata? Usually the extension is DTA. Is it CSV? Is it SPSS? You need to know what sort of data you have. For instance, one of the files is saved as Stata data. So we'd say browse, go to where the data is saved, and that's the file. Open. It will give you a preview of the data, and that should be okay. And this is a clean data set, as you can see. And you say import, if that is, you'd say import, and it's going to appear over there. Delete and delete. And then the other way you can do that is that you can load data by writing your own code. And so I think we have who, health, and with this one of the things you need to know is that when you use this symbol, you're actually creating a new data set or a new data frame in R. And so this is read.csv, and once again we need the file path for this, and our practice, copy as path, and once again we have to change this to /. So you can see it is working, and there you go. And I should have said this was CSV. The next one is DTA, which is Stata, and I think we'll just call it the unhealthy data set once again. And then this is read.dta, and once again we need our file path. There you go. Copy as path, copy paste. I'll minimize that so that I can see. run, and there we go. We have our 2 data sets. However, maybe we don't want to load the entire data set. We want a few variables here and there. And so that is where we come to our next function or symbol that is quite important in R, especially if you're using tidyverse. That is the pipette. So usually we add it at the very end of the first line of the code and the subsequent one rather than the last. You're telling R to start by analyzing everything to the left of that and still move on to the next statement to the left of that. You're just piping it in. And so after that, we're going to say select, and then we're going to say the variables or the factors that we are interested in. So this is the whole data set. Let's see what is in there. So we have country name and we have year and sex. So we can say country name. Usually it should show us how to the name, because we have to be quite who held country.name. And I'm just going to check the other one, year and sex. Year, sex. So we want a variable with just a data set with just these 3 variables, and after that you run that and you'll see it's going to change so that we'll have 3. I'll just open it. As you can see, we only have 3 factors in this: country name, year, and sex. And you can repeat the same with this other data set. Type it in and then select. And then when you select, we check still this country. I'll just put 2, and I saw that was lowercase. Calories. And with that, you can create the data set that you wanted from that. But you can see that's 2 variables and this is 3, but it retained the number of observations as per the original data set. And because we already set our working directory, we can actually simplify this code. And this is the code we use to set up our working directory. So all we have to do now is we're going to delete everything over there. And we're also going to delete that. So that we just run our code. Already the script knows, or R knows, where our working directory is, so we don't have to repeat the file path. And there you go. So that marks the end of this lesson.